Hello, everybody. So today we're going to be talking about whether sometimes you're second guessing your choices when you audition and when you're putting yourself on tape. And that's a very uncomfortable thing, right? So you might be experiencing that already when you're getting the sides and when you're working on the role. You might be hesitating, trying to make the right choice, trying to guess what they're looking for. So you might be already kind of looping at that time. And then, when your head hits the pillow at night, let's say you've worked on the audition the whole day or a couple days, and then it's the night before and your head hits the pillow, and then you might be thinking, shit, maybe that's not the right choice. Maybe I need to make another choice. Maybe there's a stronger choice. So you might be going back and forth the night before, and then let's say you're driving there for the countries that are, open already. You might be having a moment of panic in your car. And if you're still self-taping, maybe a friend is coming over, and like the hour before you're gonna tape, you might be taken by panic and like looping some choices in your head and going, shit, maybe that's not what's really happening. Or maybe there's another choice, a smarter choice or a better choice that I could make for this character. And so you're hearing already in my voice, right? This energy is starting to loop and go really fast inside of you. And then, of course, when you're in the waiting room or you're about to film, then the energy starts getting faster and faster inside of you. And you might be wanting to drop your choice at the last minute and take a new one and try it all the way in. Result is when they say action, whether it's a friend or whether you're taping by yourself, whether you're in a room, you might really not be able to go for your initial choice at all. You might be half present or not totally there at all because you've been looping so much around the choice and what's the right one, what's a better one, what are the others going to do, what are they looking for, that you might be really so depleted of your energy. It's very tiring to just go over and over and over your choice and to have doubts around it, that you might not be able to show up. You might not be present in the room. And that's really tiring and very disempowering and very disappointing, because when you put so much passion in your work and you really want to connect with a character and you really want to make a strong choice, and then you're showing up and you're not really able to open up for it because you've been in between choices, it's like, it will make you feel not great. And what is possible and what you are definitely looking for, and the reason why you're an actor in the first place, is because you want to defend the character. You want to make a very strong choice that you can stand for 100%. You want to feel like the character. You want to feel free. You want to go all in, right? Because that's when it gets really juicy. That's when you feel like you're having wings and you're flying and you're high and you are the character and you're not thinking anymore, right? So what I want us to discuss today is the real reason why that is happening. Because, most actors have been caught up in the doubt at the last moment, but you might think that it's logical to be in that position and that it's a normal step because it's hard to make a choice, because it's difficult to understand what they're looking for, and you maybe want to making the right choice and it's not easy to find. So you might think that that's why you're stuck in doubt and you're looping in doubt. And actually that's not the real reason. So what I want to touch on today is the real issue, the root issue. You being stuck in doubt at the last minute and showing up depleted is only a consequence of what's really happening. So, ready for it? What's really happening when you're stuck in doubt right before you audition is that you're in your head instead of being in your heart and in your instrument, in your body. You're in your head instead of being in your heart, in your body, in your gut. And the reason why you're in your head is even the biggest root cause of why this is happening, is because you've been raised that way. You've been conditioned that way. You've been raised to think. You've been raised to get it right. You've been raised to do it good, to do it well, to look good, to find the right answer. Everything that you have been educated for is to compare yourself against others, to do good rather than bad, to do right rather than wrong. So everything you have been trained for is to think. And I'm going to ask you, do you remember any instances in your education, whether it was at home or at school, whether you've been invited to feel, to be in your heart? Maybe not. It's very rare that you've been invited to feel. Maybe you've been invited to feel in your room, and like, go in your room if you're that upset and go hide. So that might have been coupled with shame. But when have you been really invited to feel with your heart? Probably never, right? I've polled groups already. Probably never. What you've been invited to do most of the time is to think. Now, the only thing is, this is not surgery. This is acting, right? And what is acting is the art of being fully alive, not fully thinking, fully alive. Okay? So, what happens when you're at an audition and you're stuck in your head doubting your choice is normal, because that's how you have been shaped, formed, educated, programmed, wired, formatted. You have been wired to think. Think well, think like others, think for the good answer, the right answer, as if there was one. But this is art. There is no right way to do the scene. There is no right choice. There is no better choice than anyone else. There's only the one that you will make from the depth of your heart that will be amazing and magnetic and attractive to the team that will hire you. But there is nothing you can think of that will do a better job than what your heart can do. All right? So when you walk into an audition, because you've been trained that way, what kicks in, even though you would want to be in your heart and you would want to make a choice from your gut that you'll defend full on with all your heart, well, you can't. Your system, your instrument won't allow it, because you've been disconnected from that. From the first day you were here until now, you've been disconnected from your heart, from your instrument, from your gut, from your instinct. And all that you have been trained for and formatted for is to think, is to be a head on legs. That's all you've been trained for, right? So that's what you rely on. That's what keeps you safe. That is what is keeping you from humiliation, from shame, from being wrong. Because again, when you were little and when you were being conditioned and educated, if you weren't right or looking good or getting the right answer or doing things well, you did get punished. You did get rejected. Validation was taken away. Love was taken away. So inevitably, when you walk in the audition room or when you're about to tape, and there is a moment of you realizing, oh, this is like a little bit of a test. Your system recognizes this as a school moment. You get in your head. And you might want to be in your heart as much as you want. You get in your head because you want to get it right. You've been trained for it. There's nothing else that you can do, right? You can't rely on your gut. You can't rely on your heart, on your instinct. In a way, I want to say, and that might be provoking, you can't behave like an artist. You haven't been trained to be an artist. You've been trained to be a little soldier, a follower, a good cage mate, but you haven't been trained to be an artist. So what can you do? Well, you can undo the programming. You can definitely undo the formatting, the wiring, everything that has shaped you to become what you're actually not, what nature built you as, you can undo, right? In the Reset Journey, which is the program that I have designed and that actors take, we have 33 days during which we undo the programming as a first phase. And then we muscle up the instinct. We wake up your gut because it's been dormant for decades. So it's actually absolutely unreliable. No matter how much you want to make a choice that's strong, that comes from your heart, that you'll defend with all your heart, you can't. You've been wired out of your heart and into your head, right? So what there is to do is to undo the conditioning, undo the programming, so that you can get back into your heart, in your instrument, in your body, in your instinct, into your freedom. Not the one that looks like everybody else, not the behaviors that look good or feel right. There's something so much more powerful than that. When you're a real, authentic human, you are beyond, way beyond more interesting than when you're trying to get it right, when you're in your head, right? And again, you thinking that you are trying to get out of your head cannot do it, because it won't come from there. It'll come from your instinct. And connecting with your instinct is depending on the fact that you'll undo the head. If you don't undo the head, if you don't undo that conditioning, your head will take over every single time. Just like it does every single time you audition. It takes over. No matter how much you want to be free and present and in your heart and in your body and in your instinct, it takes over. And you've done workshop after workshop and you've trained for decades, nothing will do it. Because it's been trained to. And then you study a method and another technique. And that's more thinking. Oh, there's a way to do it right. There's steps that I need to take. No, there isn't. Why are your kids the best actors and they've never done a workshop? Because they haven't been conditioned yet. Because they haven't been, wired into thinking too much. Because they just enjoy the experience. So that's what you have to get back to. That's why we undo the conditioning. Then we wake up your instinct. Right? So if this makes any sense, let us know in the comments if you're interested in, going back to what is possible for you to go full on 100% for a character, to just trust your guts and your heart and dive in and defend them and not doubt whether it's right or wrong or whether people will like it or whether you will please them. When that becomes all secondary and you're a real artist and you're going for what you want in your heart, that's extraordinary. And so if you're craving that, if you want to go back to that place, which you've always had, there's nothing new to learn. There's really unlearning that needs to happen, right? So if this makes sense, let us know in the comments so we can send you some information. I'll share a link for our wait list so that you guys can get some info and we can let you know when we open enrollment. Okay? All right. Thank you guys. Have a great week. Bye.